guys, I am working on getting dinner going in the crock pot. I thought I would show you what I'm making. So I'm going to get some butter melting while I'm talking. So I'm throwing some grass-fed butter, the Kerrygold butter, into my pan. My pan is still a little hot because I actually already cooked up some bacon, and I left a little bit of the bacon fat in the pan, but I am adding some butter to it as well because I didn't use all the bacon fat. So I'm going to let this melt. I am making a corn potato chowder, and we're going to have sandwiches on the side. My daughter has play practice tonight, so she will eat something before I bring her, and then she's not a big soup fan anyways, so she won't be sad to miss this. So she'll probably just have a sandwich beforehand. So, hello! So I'm just going to melt this butter down, and to the butter I'm going to add some onions and let them start softening. This is all going to go in the crock pot eventually, but I'm going to cook the onions down a little bit, and then I'm going to make a roux, so that way it's a little bit thicker since it is a chowder. And so I've got just some bacon fat, bacon fat and some butter in here, and I'm just cooking up my onions. And then once it's all softened a little bit, then I will make a roux for it. So while that's going, I'm going to add some things into my crock pot. So I've got my smaller crock pot here, and I'm going to add in the bacon that I already cooked up. And I am also going to add in some diced carrots. And then I also have some potatoes that I diced up already, and I'm going to add those into the crock pot as well. These were my Azure Standard potatoes that I got. I was excited to find some organic potatoes that weren't outrageously expensive. So potatoes go in. Alright, so hi, I am making a corn chowder for dinner. So in my crock pot already, I put in some cooked bacon that I had diced and cooked, and then I've got diced carrots in here and diced potatoes. And in my pan, I left a little bit of the bacon drippings and added in some grass-fed butter and diced onions. So I'm softening those up right now, and I'm going to make a roux first. So back to my crock pot, I've got some of celery that I froze yesterday. I diced and froze because it was really kind of starting to see better days. So I'm just going to put a little bit of that in there, and I'll put the rest of this back into the freezer. And then I have about 2 cups of frozen corn. This was also from my Azure Standard order. I got like a 5-pound bag. Rolling. Sorry. Okay. So I've got my corn in there. So if you're just joining me, I am making a corn chowder. In my crock pot, I have some diced cooked bacon, some 3 diced organic. Roll it. No. Roll it. Some diced organic russet potatoes, hold on a second, sorry, just a second. Hey, Roland, come, no bark, lay down. Okay, sorry, he thinks he's a tough dog. Okay, so bottom of the crock pot, since he distracted me, yeah, it smells delicious. So I've got cooked bacon in the bottom. I have some diced organic potatoes. I hope you guys can hear me over him. He's like, he thinks he's tough, but he's not. He's just the sweetest dog. Okay, diced potatoes, some frozen corn, some diced carrots, and some frozen diced celery. And in this pan, I've got the bacon fat, a little bit of bacon fat, some grass-fed butter, and some onions that I am just softening up. So then I'm going to make a roux, but first I'm going to add in a little bit of white pepper to the onions. And then before I do the roux, I'm going to add in a little bit of minced garlic. Thank you. Yeah, he thinks he's tough, and then you walk in the door and he gives you lots of kisses, but he looks scary, so I guess that's kind of nice, right? All right, some minced garlic. Okay. Saute that up for a minute. Hello, hello. All right, so I'm just gonna let that go for just another minute, let it soften. Okay, well, I need this. And I thought out some broth that I made, but you wanna know what's funny is I didn't label a bunch of bags of broth. So this could be ham broth, could be chicken broth, could be turkey broth. I guess we'll find out. It smells more like poultry than ham. The ham is more smoky. So I'm thinking it's either turkey or chicken. So it doesn't really matter, it all tastes good. So I've got that I've already thought out that I'm going to use. Okay, so my onions are just cooked down just a little bit. They're a little softened. And then I'm going to just start adding in a little bit of flour at a time. I want to know, what are you guys having for dinner tonight? Sundays are always crazy for us. We have church in the morning, and then I stopped by Target to pick up just a few things that we needed. I didn't need a lot since I got a really big Azure Standard order, and we had gone to Costco, so I only needed just a handful of things to kind of fill in for my meals this week. So we did that, then I came home, got my daughter a smoothie made, and got her some lunch, and then started prepping dinner, and then she has play practice, so our days are busy. All right, so I just keep adding in flour until it makes a thick roux. This is still too thin yet, so I'm just gonna keep adding flour a little bit at a time. And I'm terrible, I don't measure. So I'm just like a fly by the seat of my pants cook. Hello! I'm glad you could join this time. I know sometimes you aren't able to get to them, so, okay. All right, so we're getting there. We're getting to a thick consistency, which is what I want. And you want to cook out that flour taste. All right. Okay, I'm going to get out my whisk here. So now I'm going to take my broth that is whatever kind it is. And I'm just going to add a little bit at a time. It still has some frozen pieces in it because it's not completely thawed yet. So, and if you've watched me make a roux before, you know that I typically splash all over my stove. No clue what you're having for dinner tonight. I know how that goes. I meal planned this morning so I could get what I needed because we're supposed to get a pretty bad snowstorm here tonight into Tuesday, and I figured that the stores were going to get crazy, so I just placed a Target order pickup, and I did it really early this morning so they would shop for it before it got crazy because, you know, even though we live in Minnesota and we get snow all the time, people still go crazy. So, alright, so just keep adding it in and mixing it up. Really, I'm just thickening it before I throw it into the crock pot, and then I'm gonna let it cook until dinner time. I'm gonna put it on high since I'm getting it going kind of late in the day, but it's just potatoes and carrots that I'm waiting for it to cook, and I diced them pretty small. So and then right before I serve it, I'm gonna add this is frozen corn. I actually got a 5-pound bag from Azure Standard, a 5-pound bag of organic frozen corn. So I don't really like canned veggies. If I can help it, I like frozen, and fresh is not possible for us right now. Really, I mean, unless I want to pay a fortune, and I'm not about that. So, so yes, frozen corn. I did about 2 cups of frozen corn. Okay, so I've got this like thick roux that I'm going to add into the crock pot as well, and I have the rest of my broth here that I'm going to add into that as well. So I'm just going to add this in, and I'm just doing this to help it thicken while it's cooking. And then I was saying, and I got distracted, that right before I serve it, I will add in some heavy whipping cream as well. So I threw my roux right in there. Then I'm going to add the rest of my broth. I am going to attempt to mix it up a little bit. Some of this corn was really clumped together, so. And if you don't have enough liquid in here, you could always just add in a little bit of water or some more broth or water and bouillon. But you do want it thick because it's a chowder, so you don't want too much liquid. I think I'm gonna maybe need to add in a smidgen of water just to make sure everything's covered. But I'm just gonna start out with this because the veggies do put off a little bit of liquid as well. You don't wanna like add too much in there. Okay, so now for my seasonings, before I put it into my crock pot and let it go, I've got some onion powder and some granulated garlic. And I'll show you what this looks like all mixed together once I've got it in there. A little bit more white pepper. White pepper I always end up using too much because like you don't see it as much as regular pepper. It's kind of funny. Okay, so some white pepper and some thyme. So my broth is already super seasoned, so I don't need to add as much as if I was using like maybe an unsalted broth from the store. It doesn't have as much flavor, but since I made this myself, I season it really, really well when I'm making it. So, okay, a little bit of thyme because thyme goes really well in with like chowders and stuff. So, okay, mix this all together again and I'll show it to you and I'll show it to you. It's thick, so I'm gonna let it go for a little while like this. Because I am going to be adding in that heavy whipping cream later, it's going to add more liquid to it. So let me just get it all mixed up. And like I said, veggies always put off a little bit of liquid. So, alright, let me show you what it looks like and then I'll put it in my crock pot. I'll throw it on high and let it cook until dinner time. So, if you are just joining, this is I'm going to set it down because it's heavy, but it is a corn chowder. So to recap, I cooked up some bacon, diced up bacon, cooked it up, put it on a plate with a paper towel, left a little bit of the bacon fat in the pan, added some butter, cooked up some onions till they were just softened, added a little garlic, flour, made a roux, used my homemade broth to thicken, make like a thick roux, added that into my crock pot. In my crock pot I put in the bacon, the diced potatoes, some diced carrots, some celery, frozen corn, and then the rest of my broth, and then some seasonings of your choice. So, very simple, and then right before we serve it, I'll add in the heavy whipping cream, and we are going to have sandwiches with it. I actually got this delicious sourdough bread from Sam's Club, so I'm going to do like melt, so we have ham and we have salami, so with some cheese, and grilled cheese and meat sandwiches with some soup. So, alright guys, I will save this as I always do in case you joined late and you want to actually see it being made. You can go back once I'm able to get it saved and shared. So, alright guys, thanks for joining. Have a good rest of your Sunday.